But what else do you see there? Elijah isn't just speaking the word. Look who he's speaking to. He's speaking to Ahab himself, the center of the persecution. And he should be hiding in a cave with the other prophets. He's not. He's right up with the king. And he rebukes him. Elijah teaches us for the last days, for the days we are in and watching coming, whatever comes in this election, not to fear evil, not to bend to evil, even if evil seems to be on the throne. What if evil's on the throne? Well, evil was on the throne then, and Elijah didn't let it stop him. Even if evil's on the throne, I'm not talking about one person, I'm talking about rule. He confronted the evil head on. In the days to come, we must be bold with this culture. And Elijah, in the times of the famine, God kept him, fed by a bird. Elijah kept him. Was kept by God all the time. The people of God, the prophets were, Elijah was not dependent on the world. That was crucial. Because if you're dependent on the world, you can't minister to the world. If you're dependent on darkness, how can you minister to the darkness? Especially now in an Elijah age, we must become more independent from the world and from the culture and from the decay of the culture, from the perversity of the culture. We must not let it sear us that we are not shocked anymore. Elijah was independent of the culture, not fed by it, not attached to it, not compromised by it. And in the days of Elijah, we must be the same way. See, if you compromise with a flawed society, that's bad. But to compromise with a grossly evil, perverse society, that's much worse. You understand? You need more guards up, more filters up now than you did before. You see, you can't be less holy in the end times because it's all around you. You got to be more holy. In the end times, as Lot in Sodom, it says he was vexed by it. We have to be more uncompromised to stand in this day. You understand? If you were just, say, example, you're watching television every day, 24 hours a day. In the 1950s America, they didn't have it 24 hours, but you're watching it all the time. All right, you might get a little something, but you do that now? If you watch without any discrimination of what you're watching, you're going to be more corrupted, polluted. So you have to be more separated. Doesn't mean you don't know what's going on. Doesn't mean you don't use discernment. Doesn't mean you don't engage the culture. You do. Elijah was engaged the culture, but he was not dependent on it. He was not watching entertainment comedies about Baal or laughing at things that no person of God should laugh about. Or he was not entertained by the mockery of the sacred. Think Daniel in Babylon. Think Mordecai and Esther in Shushan. Think the first believers in Rome. Just to stand in a crooked generation is to be a light, but we got to stand separate. When the age is grossly evil, any compromise becomes grossly evil. For a believer to live in England in the 1930s and 40s, to compromise with the world of England was wrong. But for a believer who lived in Nazi Germany, to compromise with that culture was evil, grossly evil. You got to cut that off. I'm not saying you have to cut off everything. I say you have to cut off anything that pollutes you. And believers are going to find themselves more and more. You cannot depend on the FCC to be your censor or Hollywood to be your censor anymore. Things that they would never have allowed before, they are pushing now. You do what you have to do to protect yourself with media, the web, whatever it is. And it also means as much as you've entangled in the sin of the culture, you have to break free of it, or it's going to compromise you. It'll compromise your ability to stand. Elijah was taken care of by God. And that means if you're plugged into the internet, watching things on it you shouldn't watch, you have to break free, because if you share in the sin of a culture under judgment, you share in the judgment of that culture.
To find out how you can receive more of Jonathan's teachings, to receive special free gifts, or get in touch, go to hopeoftheworld.org or call toll-free 1-800-YESHUA-1. That's hopeoftheworld.org or call 1-800-YESHUA-1. That's 1-800-937-4821. You can also get more at Jonathan Cahn's Facebook page or write us direct at Hope of the World, Box 1111, Lodi, New Jersey 07644, USA. Hope of the World is dedicated to the goal of spreading God's Word and salvation to every land and people. We do this by spreading the Word throughout the world and sponsoring compassion projects to the most poor and needy around the earth. To get in touch or have a part in God's work, just write to Hope of the World, Box 1111, Lodi, New Jersey 07644, USA. Or go to hopeoftheworld.org or call 1-800-YESHUA-1. That's 1-800-937-4821.